Natasha. On Vormir, Natasha's sacrifice for the Soul Stone was as intimate as it was devastating. While Clint Barton begged her not to do it, even going as far as fighting to take her place, Natasha's mind was already made up. She believed that if she could trade her life to help bring everyone back, her ledger would finally be clean. Haunted by her past, this wasn't about glory or recognition. It was about redemption. Her death allowed Hawkeye to reunite with his family and gave the Avengers a pivotal piece they needed to reverse the snap. As one of the few permanent major deaths in the MCU, her sacrifice holds a lot of weight and makes it that much more meaningful. In the end, Natasha Romanoff died as she lived, protecting the people she loved. Vision's death was one of the most tragic acts of selflessness in the MCU. As Thanos approached, Vision urged Wanda to destroy the Mind Stone, even though it meant ending his own existence. His words, "You could never hurt me," to the woman that he loved reflected complete acceptance of his fate and what needed to be done for the greater good. Unfortunately, this sacrifice was short-lived as Thanos reversed time and killed him again, this time obtaining the intact Mind Stone. Vision's double death didn't stop Thanos, but it symbolized pure love and courage, sacrificing himself not for victory, but for hope. Later, in WandaVision, his memory inspired Wanda's transformation into the Scarlet Witch, proving his influence lived beyond his death. Steve Rogers' decision to remain in the past after returning the Infinity Stones wasn't a death, but it was a sacrifice of glory and honor. He gave up his place in the modern world, his role as Captain America, and decades of service to finally live the life he couldn't but long to have. By staying with Peggy Carter, Steve traded heroism for happiness, a choice that gave Sam Wilson the shield and a new legacy to continue. Steve's final decision showed that sacrifice isn't always about dying. It's also about giving up a piece of yourself for the sake of your own happiness and for the growth of others. Little One. Gamora's story on Vormir remains one of the most heartbreaking in the MCU. Though she didn't choose to die, her willingness to defy Thanos until the very end defined her sacrifice. When Thanos threw her from the cliff to claim the Soul Stone, the tragedy was that his love for her, for his daughter, became her undoing. Yet in death, Gamora's legacy became a symbol of resistance and conscience for those who were left behind, especially for Nebula, who was saved by Gamora and later carried her sister's courage and legacy forward. Her loss shaped Thanos' victory and helped fuel the Avengers' motivation to undo it, proving that even unwilling sacrifices can spark redemption across the galaxy, even years and years later. To Valhalla. Heimdall's final act was quiet but heroic. As Asgard burned and Thanos slaughtered its survivors, Heimdall used the last of his power to summon the Bifrost and send Hulk back to Earth. He knew it would cost his life, and it did, as Thanos killed him moments later, but he still did it without hesitation. That single choice helped him turn the tide for the Avengers, as Hulk's survival led him to warn the Avengers and started the chain of events leading to their ultimate fight back. Heimdall's courage in the face of inevitable death showed that even the silent guardians of the MCU play a pivotal role in saving the universe. His loyalty to Thor and Asgard outlasted the destruction of both and made him an honorable staple in the MCU. Wanda. By the end of Multiverse of Madness, Wanda's descent into darkness came full circle. When she finally realized the horror she had caused by chasing her children across universes, she made the ultimate choice: to destroy the Darkhold in every reality and bury herself with it. Wanda's sacrifice was both penance and protection. She ended the multiverse threat she had become and ensured no one else could be corrupted by the Darkhold as she had been. Her fall and redemption made her one of the most tragic figures in the MCU, someone who gave up everything, including herself, to undo the damage she caused. Yinsen. Before there was Iron Man, there was Yinsen. In the caves of Afghanistan, Yinsen saved Tony Stark's life before he even knew it, helped build an arc reactor with him, helped him construct the first Iron Man suit, and when the time came for them to escape, he chose to stay behind to protect Tony and distract the terrorists. His last words, "Don't waste it. Don't waste your life," became one of the sole foundations of Tony's eventual heroism and transformation into the Iron Man that we've all grown to love. Without Yinsen's sacrifice and inspiring last words, there would have likely been no Iron Man, no Avengers, and no Endgame victory. He was a spark that ignited the entire MCU, and his death transformed Tony from a weapons dealer into one of Earth's greatest protectors, showing that the first sacrifice in the MCU might also be its most meaningful. Daddy. Spoken like a true hero, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all, is as funny as Yondu's sacrifice was tear-jerking. Yondu's journey from a Ravager to a father figure for one of our most beloved guardians reached its end when he saved Peter Quill from Ego's destruction. As the air ran out in space, Yondu used his last breath to tell Peter, "He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy." His sacrifice redeemed years of questionable choices and redefined what family meant in the MCU. Yondu's death taught Peter, and fans, that heroes aren't defined by bloodlines, but by love and choice. His magnificent funeral, hosted by the Ravagers, honored him as the man who finally earned his colors. We are Groot. As the Guardians, trapped in Ronin's ship, were coming down to crash, Groot spreads his arms and branches around into a ball to protect his friends, saying one final line, "We are Groot." It wasn't just the first time we heard him divert from the usual "I am Groot," but it was also a declaration of his unity and camaraderie for the rest of the Guardians, especially for his best friend Rocket. Groot's sacrifice not only saved the team, but cemented their bond as family and allowed them to defeat Ronin together. Though he regenerated into Baby Groot, that version wasn't the same being. It was his legacy reborn. Groot's act of self-sacrifice turned 5 ragtag outcasts into a family of heroes, proving that even a walking tree who can say only 3 words can speak volumes about love and loyalty. I am Iron Man. When Tony Stark snapped his fingers at the end of Avengers Endgame, he wasn't just ending a war that Thanos had started, he was ending his own story arc. From the man who in the very beginning said, "I am Iron Man," out of sheer pride, to saying it again out of courage and love for his family and the universe, Tony's sacrifice became the definitive moment of heroism in the MCU. His decision to wield the Infinity Stones, knowing it would cost him his life, restored billions who vanished in Infinity War. The result wasn't just one of the most important victories they had, but it was also a redemption for one of the most complex yet inspiring characters in the MCU. Tony's final act secured peace, brought closure to his journey, and inspired a new generation of heroes to follow his example.